morning. We really appreciate it. We're glad that the Lord blessed us with some fine weather. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to say a quick prayer and I'm going to bless this gathering and we'll get this thing kicked off properly. Heavenly Father, thank you for this gathering of saints, friends, family members, and tribe. We are grateful for this opportunity to come together and serve, and we look forward to you blessing our actions, our words, and our activities as we go forth this week building fellowship together. Amen. All right, friends, families, my fellow protectors, welcome. As we gather here once more upon these grounds of Bloomington West underneath this vast Kansas sky, I am humbled by the sheer weight of our gathering. For we are not here merely to camp. We are here to forge something together that the world outside has begun to forget. It has been said that there are two defining moments throughout a person's lifetime: the moment they're born, and then the moment they realize why. Many of you have spent your lives feeling a calling to something greater, a quiet, persistent hum in the back of your soul that reminds you that you were meant for more than just existing. I believe you have found your why. You have found it in the faces of your children. You have found it in the sanctity of your homes. You have found it in the duty that you feel to those whom you love, care for, and protect. But purpose requires a standard of conduct. We must remember that the purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful. It is to be honorable. It is to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well. We do not seek an easy path. Instead, we seek a path that allows us to stand boldly in defiance of hard times and uncertainty. However, this brings us to a very hard truth, and that to be truly useful, one must be formidable in one skill or another. And as Dr. Jordan Peterson reminds us, a truly dangerous person is one who is capable of great harm, but keeps their violence in check through voluntary self-discipline. We do not train our skills. We do not sharpen our minds because we seek conflict or strife. No, we do it so that we are the ones capable of stopping it and rebuilding afterwards. This strength, however, was not meant to be carried alone, because true virtue is not found in being harmless. It is found in having the strength of a lion while possessing the heart of a servant. True legacies are laid in the cornerstones of faith, family, fellowship, and community. When like-minded individuals, each of you a specialist in your own right, come together with your skills and your spirits, you become an unstoppable mechanism of preparedness and support. Look around you. This is that foundation. You, all of you, are part of that mechanism now. I challenge each and every one of you to take these principles home, back to your homes, back to your neighborhoods, and stand taller and proud because you have strengthened your community for being here. This festival is free to the public, and it shall remain so as long as it is supported by individuals such as yourselves, the sponsors who step up and heed the call. And each and every opportunity ticket that you purchase goes toward funding the next festival. We cannot do this alone, and without your support, it would be extremely difficult to finance this festival without you. In closing, I am convinced that you were born for a time such as this. I bid you go forth today and through the rest of this weekend with purpose. Be useful. Build upon this cornerstone. Do not give in to complacency, because complacency is where dreams go to wither and die. With a heart full of hope for the future, I look forward to what we are building together. With that, I formally declare this festival has now begun. Thank you, everyone. And as now tradition, we will turn it over to our MC of the MPP, our SSG, our Triple B, Bunker Buster Bobby.
It just gets longer every time. At some point, you're going to think I'm a Fed because of the number of acronyms in front of my name.
Hey, if you're a Fed, you got to tell us if you're a Fed.
You got to tell me if you're a cop.
Oh, you turn that off. Danger, Will Rock.
All right, I'm going to make some announcements, and then we're going to bring up our first speaker. Those of you who have places to be, thank you for being here. Go forth and make this the best Midwest Preparedness project ever. Thank you. Give up a big round of applause to our volunteer corps. I was going to introduce myself, but apparently I don't need to do that now. But for those who do not know, I am Bobby Spags, the MC and the Vice President of Midwest Preparedness Project. Before I bring up our first speaker, I have a few house cleaning things to bring up, and then I'll let the real show begin. First and foremost, when you came in to the traffic control point, you should have been handed a small flyer. It's a small map of the area with an entire list of what the agenda is. If you did not receive one of those, there are some up here at the front desk. The ladies and Jamie up there can get that taken care of for you if you did not get one. This year, we're changing up the potluck. We usually do it on Saturday. This time, we're going to do it on Friday because Bartertown is just getting so big and the giveaway is getting so big and the potluck is getting so big that it was cramming into each other. So now we're moving the potluck to Friday. So those of you who intend to participate with that, make sure you see Jonathan. He's one of the yellow vesters, tall guy, big hat. You won't be able to miss him. He runs the potluck for us now, and he's the one who will be coordinating where the food gets and where it goes. Christy, there's Jonathan right there, in charge of the potluck. Christy is in charge of our youth program. She's in charge of the youth giveaways and all activities. I'm going to have her say a few things about her program real quick.
Hi, everybody. Okay, just a couple of things. I've talked to most of the families already, and I've already been gathering the waivers. You must sign a waiver to register your kids for all of our activities. Of course, you don't have to let them participate in everything. That's up to you. They also this year have to be wearing a pink bracelet to participate in the activities. And I've been marking on the pink bracelet whether they're allowed to use a knife or not for our whittling class on Saturday. So once you finish if you haven't got a waiver yet for your kids, make sure you see me or Tamara, one of our pink vests. The pink vests are the kids' workers this year. I have a few extras, so if I have a lot of adult helpers, I'll be putting pink vests on them too. Also, please help the kids identify poison ivy. It's everywhere out here. I've cleaned out the kids area over here. It's safe, but every tree seems to have a little bit of it on it. And as usual, but for the new people, I passed out kids tickets for the kids. They will be yellow this year. So if they have participated in my activities, they earn tickets. You cannot buy them. And we'll have our drawings at the same time as the adult drawings. Let's see, what else did I have on my list? I could still use a couple more people. If anyone's willing to come down at 1 o'clock on Friday, tomorrow, we're doing some water activities. So the more hands on deck, the better for that. See me if you're interested in helping transport the kids down there and or just being there to watch for safety for the kids. And the other thing that's new is the transportation waiver is just a line on the registration form. I tried to make it easy. So if you're okay with us transporting kids, make sure you know what you're signing on the waiver. So, all right. Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks, Christy. Give her a round of applause. We actually have a lot of cool classes and adult programming scheduled for this weekend, but honestly, that would just be another prepper show, and that would be pretty boring. So without having the children's activities and the family vibe that we try to do here, this would be like anything else. So Christy is a big part of that. So thank you, Christy, for all you do. Every morning, for those interested, there is a Bible study that takes place behind this tent. There are some picnic tables lined up. You can attend that if you would like to. All right, we've gone over the waivers. All right, let's do the camp rules real quick. I'm sorry, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning is the Bible study in the back. Camp rules, quiet hours from 10 p.m. until 7 a.m. We ask that you do your best. No generators if you can help it. Kids, well under control. Dogs, where they need to be. Speaking of dogs, all dogs have to be on a leash at all times. This is Army Corps of Engineer property that we're using for this. And they don't want the liability, and we don't want the liability. So dogs on a leash. There are trash bags that have been hung periodically around the campsite. We will try to furnish those as time goes on. At least once during this event, there will be a trash truck that will come through. The dumpsters are right here to the corner of this tent. That's where you can take your trash. If you're someone who has a need of help in moving your trash, flag one of us down and we'll give you a hand. There's a red trailer right behind that tent. It's full of firewood. If you can't find firewood, that's communal firewood. It was sponsored to us by Dumpster Fire Farms, who also has the tent that's blocking our view from seeing the tractor or the trailer full of firewood. But that guy in the black brought the firewood, so thank you to Pete. There is to be no open carry of firearms on Army Corps ground. They understand they're going to get sued someday. They've even admitted that rule will not last forever, but you cannot openly carry here. You can conceal carry by permit only. All that information was put out on the website. However, we have a very good working relationship with the Army Corps. It's the weirdest thing between feds and preppers. You wouldn't think it would ever happen this way, but they actually don't care, and they're not going to come up and ask you. So if you're not obnoxiously printing, exercise judicial marksmanship if necessary, please and thank you. RV pads are only for RVs or for campers. If you're parked on one, we're going to have our security teams come through and ask you to move your vehicles. All parking is 2 wheels off the road, 2 wheels on the road. It can be right on that line. They really don't care. The purpose is they just don't want ruts in the grass. So make sure you're parking appropriately. And I do believe that is all I'm going to say for now. Don't forget to see the gals and Jamie up at the front to purchase your opportunity tickets. All the prizes are now displayed right there behind, not up on the stage anymore. That way you can actually see what you're buying tickets for quicker than having to walk up to the stage and check it out. 6 o'clock Friday, 6 o'clock Saturday are the 2 giveaways. All proceeds go towards purchasing the campground next fall and the previous spring. So with that being said, I'm going to bring up our first speaker. That's who you're really here to see. I'm going to introduce you to a friend of the projects. Her name is Janet Gutierrez. She is one of our sponsors. She's actually done classes at our local MAG meetings in Topeka, and I would like to welcome her to the stage for the second time at Midwest Preparedness Project. She owns Bohemian Prairie Alchemist, and she is here to talk to you about the magic of aromatherapy. Come on up, Janet.
Yep, got it. Can everybody hear me? Okay, all right. So I got the mic working right. I just want to introduce a little bit about myself. I was here last September. Can you hear me? Okay. And I had a really good presenting about it matters what you put on your body, and it was about soap making. I am a certified aromatherapist, and I'm certified National Association of Holistic Aromatherapists. So I didn't.
Always something.
Hello? Can you hear me? Okay. So hello? I'm certified through the National Association of Holistic Aromatherapists, and I didn't just get a book and decide, hey, I'm going to take a test. It's many, many hundreds of hours of study and research. There's 3 levels. I'm a level 2. I'm not going to be a level 3. A level 3 is one that would be an instructor to me. So, and I started doing this because I started making soap due to skin allergies, and I wanted to be as natural as possible. So I learned about essential oils. I had no idea they had healing properties. I just wanted the essential oils instead of fake fragrances. And that's what you're finding in laundry, in bathroom products, cleaning products, um, car fresheners, all that kind of stuff, candles, is fake fragrances. And what does a fake fragrance do? It may smell good, but emotionally it does nothing for you. Essential oils will heal you. And so let's kind of get into that. So I just want to first talk about, hey Bill, can you help me? Can you kind of hold that up? Okay. Okay. All right. So what is aromatherapy? Aromatherapy has to do with when you smell an essential oil, it's going to go up to your nose. It's called the olfactory. That internally goes into your brain and your bloodstream and goes into the limbic system of your brain. So the brain part regulates emotions, it regulates feelings, it regulates health, mental health, all those kind of things. So aromatherapy is actually the art and science of smelling a true essential oil, and we'll get into what a true essential oil is, so that you can feel better. There are three methods of application of applying an essential oil. One is through smelling, and that's predominantly what I like to do, especially at night if I can't sleep. I have different blends that I make to help me sleep. It goes up to my nose, goes through the olfactory, goes to the brain, goes through the blood system, and then it accretes through the kidneys. Another way is topically. So topically, when you're making, say, lotions or soaps or salves, some of the essential oils, when you're making soap, the scent stays, but not all of the chemical constituents. And they're still researching that. There is a Dr. Dunn, Kevin Dunn, that is a chemist and also very into aromatherapy and essential oils, and he's kind of been doing a lot of research on that. So salves, balms, ointments, sprays, those are topical. Massage therapists, oils, so that's another way. So when you've had aches and pains, I have a couple of salves I've made to put on them, and so that's topically. Another way, and you all know about diffusers, and I'll kind of get into the diffusers a little bit, but that's also going to be inhalation. Also, remember when we were little, us older people had the Vicks nasal inhalers? Well, don't use Vicks. But I make my own little nasal inhalers for sinus assistance, for breathing and things like that. One other way, and this is not one that I would advocate. Now, I have done it and I do it, but that's because I'm a certified aromatherapist, is orally. So I don't recommend anybody using essential oils orally. Anytime I work with a person one-to-one, I do a patch test when I'm looking to see, making a formula for them, what is the best application. Say they are having sleepless nights, or maybe they're anxious, so I'm trying to formulate what would be best for them. Should it be topically? Should it be inhalation? Should it be a roller blend? I do a patch test. So I take an essential oil, put a little bit on their skin when we finally figured out the formulation, make sure they're not allergic to that, and wait 5 minutes, then go on to the next one. If they don't have a reaction, then we're okay. If you're taking it orally, how are you going to know? And there's a lot of misconceptions about that and wrong information. And I don't represent any essential oil company, just so that you know that. There's like 4 or 5 ones that I'm very comfortable with using, and those are the ones that I would recommend using. I'm not part of any multi-level marketing team or anything like that. So those are 3 ways to use essential oils. All right, what is an essential oil? Can anybody tell me what essential oil is? Yeah? What's that? Yes? Okay, so essential, go ahead. Yep. Bing, 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 everybody's right. Yes. So actually, the scientific or whatever term is the volatile oil that has come out of the plant. All right, and volatile means that when it comes out, it's expressed or distilled, and there's a few ways, and I'll kind of talk about that a little bit. But what happens is that volatile means that it evaporates. So that's why they're all in dark bottles, and they all have lids on, and they're not in the sun. I store all my essential oils in a cabinet because they do expire, and every essential oil will expire differently. And the other thing too is that once you take the lid off, they are already starting an evaporation, so you'll lose. So you have to just use it and put the lid back on and put it away. So it's actually the volatile oil that is expressed or distilled from a living plant. Now, for exception of one that I know of, is amber. Are y'all familiar with the stone amber? All right. Well, I get amber from Poland. I've been in Poland. I have family there in Czech and Poland, and I've been there, and I have made a salve with ancient amber resin, because amber is actually petrified pine, a specific tree that grows up by the Baltic. So I've used that. There are healing properties in that. And so anyhow, and I wanted to show you. This is another one. I'm done with that one, Bill. So when we look at essential oils and where they come from, it's not always a flower. So anybody tell me what this is? Ginger. So it's a root. So ginger root, that's how we get ginger essential oil. This is Virginia juniperus, which has the juniper needles. So you're getting juniper berry. So it's the berries that you're going to get the oil from. This is spruce, and there's a couple different species of spruce. So black spruce, this is blue spruce, that grows on my property. Cinnamon, you can just fold it up. There's cinnamon bark, okay. Bay leaf. Rose buds, so rose petals. Okay, and we have myrrh, which is a resin. Now, okay, here it goes again. Can anybody tell me what would be another root plant that you would get an essential oil from? It's real popular right now. It's bright yellow. Turmeric. That's another root. Yep. What about some type of a berry or a seed? No elderberry. Not every plant makes an essential oil. Juniper's one, yeah. Pepper, black peppercorns. Yep. You don't have too many. You don't. The other one would be like coriander is another one. So that's seeds. So the mint family is from the leaves. Rose is from the petals. Lavender is from the little lavender flowers. And then you have citrus. Citrus is the peel. So you can't get it out of the fruit, you get it out of the peel. And a lot of times those are, it's pressed. So they put, just like you're making an orange juice, but you're going to press the peel. And it's a big process with that. But that's how you usually get the essential oils, is from the peels. Bark. So we do have cedar wood, and we have a lot of different barks. Let me see if I had anything different. Frankincense. All right. So the resin is made into, and it's some of them are dry distilled, so it's a different process. Some of them are steam distilled. They get very gummy and sticky. And if you were at my presentation in December with all the resins, I went more into detail with that. So we know that they come from different parts of the plant. The most expensive essential oils, and let me just give you this. I think I have it right over here. All right, I'm going to ask Bill again. He's my helper this morning. So this is a still. This is going to, and I'm going to just kind of talk about it a little bit. Yeah. So this is a still that is predominantly the way you get. It's called steam distilled essential oils, and you've got boiling water on one end, and you got the plant material on top of it, and it's going to go through a process. So what's going to happen is that the heat of the water is going to expel the oils of the plant, and they're going to go into one area, and then the steam that doesn't make into oils is going to go into another vat. So that's just sort of, it's just like if you're making whiskey a little bit, only we're making essential oils. And so what you get is in one pot, you're going to get the essential oils. The other pot, you're going to get a hydrosol. So the hydrosols are really what you want to use for children. They're safer. They have a little bit of the essential oil in it, but they're scented. They're very good for children if you've got, how's my tent? Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So essential oils, and I kind of want to talk a little bit, got my little flyer thing here. So essential oils have only been around since around the 1700s. In biblical times, it was discussed about aromatic plants. So what they did was usually they would infuse the beautiful smelling plant material in the oils that they had, olive oil, almond oil, things like that. That was an aromatic oil that they talked about in the Bible, and then the plants. So what happened was there was a Frenchman named Gustave, and he's kind of the father of aromatherapy. And what he did was he had a lavender farm, and he was somewhat of a chemist, and he was making lavender for perfumers because that's what it predominantly was used for. And I don't know if you remember during the Middle Ages, if you ever saw a picture of those, the Middle Ages when the Black Plague was going around. Okay, then you had a picture of like people that had masks on with the duck or goose. Okay, so those were predominantly perfumers. And what they did was they took the perfume and they kind of rubbed it on themselves, and they never got sick. But some of those people that were perfumers took advantage of the Black Plague, and they were robbers. And they knew that if they rubbed all that oil on them, they weren't going to get sick because they were robbing the dead people. So there's a little story behind that. I thought it was kind of interesting. So Gustave was a French chemist, and he was making perfume for perfume companies. He was not making perfume, but he was getting the plants, the lavender plants. And one day there was a terrible fire, an explosion at his place, and he was burned pretty bad. Well, he really didn't know what to do, but he started putting his lavender oil on his burns, and lo and behold, it healed. And that's one of the significant things about lavender is very good for wound healing. It's very good for your skin. So he kind of saw the process and started changing ways, and he's the father of aromatherapy. And it really derived in Europe, predominantly France. There are other people that were MDs that started to go toward more with essential oils and in the 60s and 50s and 40s. So that's kind of where aromatherapy started. It's really important that you understand Latin names. So if you're looking for an essential oil, the company should have the Latin name on it. Capital letter first, and the species is the small letter after that. So Lavandula augustifolia is lavender. And if you don't have the Latin name or that one that you want, then you're going to maybe get a hybrid, which is okay. Sometimes, like a lot of lavenders, for my soap making, I get lavender 40/40, so it's a combination of a lot of different lavenders, so it's less expensive. So it's very important that you use Latin names so that you're getting the quality product. The other thing is that every company should tell you, when you're purchasing it, where it's from, how it was made, was it distilled, what company, and where it was from. Like there's French Bulgarian lavender. There's Bulgarian lavender, there's French lavender, there's Spanish lavender. So they're all good, but they're all going to be different because maybe the Spanish lavender has been grown in very arid, dry, so it's going to smell a little different. The lavender from France is going to be, maybe there's more humidity. Bulgarian, maybe the elevation, climate, things like that, where it's grown. So they're going to smell a little differently. You can always be getting the same species, but the scent might be a little different from where it's grown. So that's always important so that you're getting the right blend. The other reason that it's important is that this said sun essential oils, sage. Well, this is 80 to 90% olive oil and maybe a teaspoon of sage essential oil. So don't let that say that you think that's an essential oil. I've had this for years and years and years and years, and I always use it to show people when I'm teaching. Yes.
Do you buy them when you buy a product from another country, like the Bulgarian lavender? Do you source it from here, or do you go there to get it?
No, I source it from a company that gets it from them.
So you don't have any problem getting it into the country then?
No, I get it from, say, like Plant Therapy is one company, and I buy it from them.
Okay.
They get it from the other company. They are the resources. One group that I'm with, it's when you're in a certified aromatherapist, just like teachers, doctors, social workers, which I'm a retired social worker, in order to keep your credentials, you have to take continuing education. So I'm with a group called Aromatics International, and I've kind of joined them. They're one of the essential oil companies that I really like. But I get CEUs, I get a lot of ongoing education from them. They're the ones that source it from the real sources, like say and they go there, they visit the vendors that supply their oils and that. So I don't go there. Yeah, the only one, the amber I do get directly from Poland. So when I get it, yeah. I have a fellow girlfriend, soap maker in Poland that gets it for me, and then she sends it to me. So yeah. Okay, so that's why Latin names are important. There's nothing Latin on here. Here's one here. Let me see. Oh, and these are hydrosols, so just that you know. This is called bay rum fragrance oil, and they always should have a fragrant oil on it. Sometimes they say mixed fragrance and essential oils. It's still not safe. You're not going to get the benefit of 100% pure essential oil. Let's go here. Now, there's a couple of them that I want to talk about for sure. This one. So bee balm's getting to be out in a little bit, probably July. I love that fragrant oil. I love the fragrance. It's an essential oil. Same with goldenrod will be out in August, and a lot of people say, oh, the hay fever. Well, it's not. It's the ragweed, because I have a lot of allergies, and goldenrod is one I put in my teas to help counteract the allergies. So goldenrod is a nice essential oil. Bee balm is a wonderful, and that's something that's from the United States. And the other one I want to talk about is cannabis. So cannabis essential oil, I have some right here. I knew everybody would listen now. So cannabis essential oil, unfortunately, when it's distilled, loses the THC. So it's safe. You can, And it's been around a long time for a stabilizer for perfumers. So some of the essential oils are not necessarily there for the scent, it's for the stabilization of perfumers or making blends and things like that. What essential oil do you think is my favorite? Just guess. Lavender, right? I'm a lavender person. Lavender, everything. What's that? You're going to guess that. I'm not floral, but I'm lavender. So it's more woodsy. And I'm also a resin specialist. So I specialize in working with resins. And I love resins. There's a lot of history there, a lot of information. All right, so let's talk about, there's a couple things. Some, like I talked about, the essential oils need to be in dark bottles, out of the sunlight, because some are photosensitive, so they're going to evaporate in the bottle. If they're not, those are usually your citrus. And then also, yes. Inactive, and it will evaporate. It just does. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's photosensitive. So if you have, even if like these, if these are out a long time, yes. Yeah, and then they become no good. They lose their. Yeah, no, some do. Some do. It just does. Yeah, it's just weird. Yeah, that's why they're called volatile. Yeah. Um, all right, so let's kind of talk about the healing properties. What happened to that other? Oh, here it is. All right, so Bill, many. I saved this. No, I'm just going to show them to him. So I just want to show you that Bill can kind of walk around. Essential oils aren't just a good smelling thing, or they uplift you. There are chemical constituents in essential oils. And they're called like terpenes, sesquiterpenes, alcohols, ketones, and those different essential oils have different chemical properties and different healing. So a common denominator, like with resins, is they're anti-inflammatory and they're good for respiratory. And that means rubbing, that means inhaling, things like that. So there's monoterpenes, sesquiterpenes. So when I was studying, and I'm a very visual, hands-on, don't read something to me, I need to see it. So this is how I taught myself about the difference, and I just saved it. So it kind of has a breakdown. You can come and look at it. I'll have it up in my little booth. And it tells you, I've got some essential oils there listed of what they are. That's when I'm looking at a blend to help somebody if they're in need or whatever, I'm going to, like I said, they fill out a 4-page assessment, a health assessment. I need to know what meds they're on, things like that. And then I also look to see what are the best essential oils. The other thing that I do is if they tell me I can't stand peppermint, and I just listen, I don't say anything. But if I'm thinking that peppermint might be one of the better oils, and I usually do a 3 to 5 combination blend, I let them smell, when I come to a blend, I let them smell the essential oil. Then I add another one. Then I add a third. If those sound good, then we move on to how many I have. I don't ever tell them what they're smelling. And when I get the blend ready for them, and peppermint may be in it, they're okay. So I don't ever tell them what they're smelling until I've reached a blend. And then they say they're okay with it, and then we do the patch test. So, all right, always use a carrier oil to add your essential oil. So here's a for instance, the little roller balls, that's 1/3 ounce. You can, and you have to have the appropriate dilution amount. So a 1/3 little carrier or little roller ball, 1/3 ounce, 30 mils. You can only put 20 to 22 drops of an essential oil. So what you do, you get your little blend, you put the 20 drops in first, then you add the carrier oil, jojoba, olive oil, fractionated coconut oil, that always stays liquid, sweet almond oil, whatever you like, depending on what blend you're making it for. Because it carries the essential oils to the skin, to the nervous system, to your bones, to your bloodstream. And so that's for safety, so that you don't have those allergic reactions. The other thing is tea tree oil. They're looking at possibly allowing you to put it topically because it's very antifungal. Athlete's feet, that's one of the oils that World War II soldiers had used. They're from Australia. They never had athlete's foot because they would apply that directly on their toes and their feet, because it's always, when you have wet feet, that's how you get that fungus. Some with lavender, but not too much. So again, with essential oils, they're going to help you as much as you want help. So you can be hurting, say, but if you're taking essential oils and thinking that's going to heal it, it's also a lifestyle change. So you have to be committed to, and that's what I tell my clients. I said, I had a man, and this is true, and I've helped quite a few people, that after COVID, or when you have sinus infections, or when you have a really bad flu, or you're on a lot of medicines, you lose your sense of smell. This happened a lot with COVID. So I could help a person, because essential oils are still going to work, but it's not going to be real beneficial to them emotionally because they can't smell. So there is a way to get your sense of smell back, and that's with, you have 4 specific essential oils. You have them in these jars with a cotton pad, and if you can't smell, then you should put, a picture of them on top or whatever. And then you're going to do that. You're going to smell them deeply 5 to 6 times a day. And then within 2 weeks, you're going to get your smell back. So I worked with this man, and I felt beneficially he really needed to smell for him because he had some really emotional, mental depression. And I just felt the smelling would work if you could smell. So I told him, I sat down with him and his wife, and I said, how committed are you? You have to do this. So he set his timer on his phone to 5, like every 4 hours in the day, and he did it. And with him, he had lost his sense of smell for a long time. So I knew it wasn't going to be within a week or 14 days. And what happened was, after 2 weeks, he says, well, I can smell a little bit. And he says, I don't like it. He says, because I don't like smelling my wife's garlic in the oven. So, but I thought he was teasing. So I said, well, can you smell your wife baking a cake? Yes, I can. I can smell the nutmeg or whatever. So I still felt he needed more time. So after 2 weeks, we refreshed those jars and put new cotton pads. I put, another 20 drops in each. And after a month, he could smell really well. So that was, I'm praising God for that. So let me just kind of talk about what I'm seeing. And there's a lot of research out there with essential oils. There's a lot of WebMD you can research. I'm not just giving you a lot of hot air. I was a hospice social worker for a while. I saw the calming it did. I had a person on hospice that had been in prison most of his life, and he was too sick to be in prison, so we was moved to a nursing home, and I did aromatherapy, and he was very agitated all the time, and I went in the nursing home and did that with him, and he fell asleep within about 10 minutes. But it's really being in tune to what that person needs. What essential oil works for me may not work for you. We're all chemically made different. That really needs to be looked at, because especially if somebody may say, I don't like that smell, but if they really have a terrible time with it. And smell brings memory. That's one of the big things. So when I was younger, I grew up in northern Ohio, and then my parents moved to Arizona. And I grew up in a very Slavic, World War II neighborhood. Everybody was immigrants, legal immigrants. And everybody spoke English only because then you couldn't communicate otherwise. There was Bulgarian across the street, Romanian, French, Italian, Hungarian next to me, German next to me. And so I grew up in my grandparents were from Europe, and Czech and Poland. And so, you have those families, those different things. And so when I was younger, we had incinerators. Does anybody know what an incinerator is? Okay, well, you had your house, you had a basement, and you burned your trash. The only trash pickup would be maybe cans, okay? Well, these couples houses down from me would burn their dog's poop. So I smelled that all growing up. It was terrible. I said, my mom said, they're burning it again, So anyhow, I don't know when it was, but it was probably 20 years ago. I smelled that same smell, and it took me back to my childhood. So when I do an exercise at nursing homes or assisted living, I take the essential oil around, I let them smell it, and then I ask them what it is. And one person will say, well, that smells like Pledge. So it was lemon, so furniture polish. Another person smelled something, and it was, that smells like a dentist's office, clove. That's what the dentists use a lot. I have them smell another thing. And after about 3 smells, you have to neutralize your nose. So you can take coffee grounds, fresh coffee grounds that were not made into coffee, and have them smell to neutralize your sense of smell. And then they take another smell around. And one person would say, that smells like toothpaste. Well, it was spearmint. So it triggers memory. So what does memory do to you? It's not just, it's emotional. When you have, there are specific essential oils for old trauma. There are specific there are specific essential oils just for the heart, for circulation. I make blends for circulation. I make blends for face, mature skin. There's specific oils for that, that are going to trigger those ailments. I make a balm of Gilead, and I have a friend that's a biker, that not a motorcycle biker, but a bicycle biker. Yeah. And he gets cramps a lot. So he puts the balm of Gilead on, and he says, and within a minute, it goes away. So, and it's the resin, it's the cottonwood, not the cottonwood trees here, but the resin from cottonwood up north in the Northwest. And it's specific essential oils for inflammation and pain and things like that. So, all right, I'm going to open it up to questions because I'm about done. So any more questions? Any questions at all?
I know there's at least one about cannabis out there, I'm sure.
You're welcome to smell it.
All right, we have a question right here.
You were saying that you do blends for people. You do blends for people for different elements? Are you doing that here at the camp?
No.
Are you local?
I'm out of Rantoul, which is near Ottawa.
Awesome.
And I have business cards, and I have a booth over there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Anybody else have a question? Oh, we got one in the back. Right next to the world's best dog ever, Jasper.
So I had a question about the amber. Is it just specific? What's so, why Polish amber?
That's where I get it from. There is amber out of India. It's really the Baltic amber. So the Baltic Sea is right above Poland. Mm-hmm. So that's predominantly where Poland is the Baltic capital.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And does it help with tick prevention?
No.
Okay.
No, the amber
doesn't.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I had a similar question about the amber, and the reason I'm asking is because for ticks, mosquitoes, with bugs, for cats, dogs, even people, there's a woman somewhere online who's selling these amber beads, necklaces or bracelets, things that you can use for pet collars or for yourself around your ankles or whatever. And she says that they're great for repelling ticks and other bugs. they're very expensive. If it works, it'd be worth it. But I'm thinking, I
know that they use the amber for teething, right? And when I was in Poland the first time, I went into this church. My cousin and I went into this church, and amber in Poland is the cure-all. They had a bottle, and they had it's all in Polish, and I didn't bring it to my shop. And then they had probably about maybe a tablespoon of amber pebbles, and then you would tincture that. Are you familiar with tinctures at all? You would put the alcohol in it and let it set for 6 weeks, and then that pulls out the constituents. So as far as a tincture, I don't know. I know that my amber that I use, or that I use it for, is actually emotional healing. So old traumas, sadness, things like that. That's where I like to use the amber for. Amber's also been a fixative in perfumes too. I don't know. I think that needs to be. I have a book at home, so I'll have to research it. I have a book just on amber. So I'll have to research that. Thank you. That's a great question. Both of them.
With alpha gal becoming such a big thing, and we had a question.
What?
Alpha gal, the Lone Star tick. It's getting to be more and more thing. Allergy to meat type of thing. But you said you use goldenrod to help with your allergies. Do you see maybe a potential for other rheumatoid or type of things where the essential oils can help with stuff like this?
Yeah. I think part of, you can always add essential oils. You have to always also look, I'm very holistic, so you got to look at the whole person. You got to look at diet. You got to look at what you're taking in. And that's what I had to do a month ago. I was in bed for 2 weeks almost because of allergies. I just said, I'm done. I can't, I would treat myself, and I haven't been to a physician in years, but I've been in the medical field all my life. I understand it. I know it. I'm a medical social worker, and I've spent a lot of time around doctors, and sometimes the doctors would say, what do you think, Janet? I said, well, I'm not the doctor. Well, I like your opinion, and, you're smart or whatever. But, so I look at the holistic. So with my allergies, I just said I made my own nasal inhaler. I was doing steam treatments with, say, peppermint and eucalyptus, and then I'd put the hot compresses on my face. It's always up here. And I had a little bit of a cough, but not much. But I know it's the pollen. And we had all this rain. I mean, I'm like a barometer. I know there's a front coming in. I can see it. When I lived in Arizona, I could see this. I knew there was a dust storm coming. I'd start sneezing, and it wasn't until the next day, but I knew it was coming. So it's the whole body. You got to look at diet, especially what we put into our, and when I talked in the fall, was all the additives that are in our foods and our chemicals and what we're being subjective to. So you got to look at all that. One of the things I really recommend is a detox your house. So get rid of fragrant candles, get rid of plug-ins. Don't put a plug-in or those air fresheners in your car or truck. I gag when I walk down the laundry aisle. I can make my own laundry soap, but my honey likes, we buy the nothing, like all or something. It's nothing's in it. But you have to look at any of your cleaners. Just vinegar and water will clean, or add essential oils. So you have to look at getting rid of all that toxic stuff. And then, but yes, rheumatoid arthritis, my dad had it really bad. And comfrey salve I make, an arnica salve is good. There's research along with arnica for arthritis. There's also a couple of good essential oils like Paie, P-A-I-E, that's really good for pain. There's a lot of information out there. Just be careful. And I'm gonna give you 4 before I say goodbye, and I'll head over there. I'm gonna give you 4 or 5 companies that I highly recommend, and because I feel they have, number one, great customer service. I have bought from them. They have great education, great websites, and they're very personal, and they're very ethical. And that's my biggest thing, is ethics. So one is Aromatics International. They're out of Montana. The owner is a retired nurse, and her daughter was a teacher. and they bought it. She co-owned it with somebody else, and then that other person had passed away. So they're out of Montana. The other one is Plant Therapy. I think you've heard of Plant Therapy. Don't buy anything from Walmart. You don't know how long it's been there. You don't know how long it's been in their warehouse, and you don't know how long it's been at the other warehouse before it's to their warehouse and then gets to Walmart. The other one is Eden's Botanicals. And Eden's Botanicals is up in Northern California, Petaluma, and that's the only place that I buy the amber from. I get nothing from these companies. I just like to give you a knowledge and education, because my motto is, what good is knowledge if it's not shared? And then the other one is Eden's Garden, and they're out of, I think, Southern California. The other key to buying from a good essential oil company is that they should have an aromatherapist on staff. And they all do, if not more. And I trust those four. Now, there's other ones that I have bought from, but I don't think they necessarily have an aromatherapist on staff. The other one is the Essential Oil Company and Lotus Blossom Garden or Lotus Garden, and they're very good too. The other thing, that if you need to get information on the essential oil, you can call them and they will talk with you, especially the ones up in Petaluma, Eden's Botanicals. They do a lot of education, and they can give you the, it's called let me tell you it's a detailed distillation information. It's called a MSGM, I think that's the initials, and that gives you the chemical constituents of that essential oil, and when it was distilled, and an expiration date. So it can tell you, how much terpenes, how many sesquiterpenes are in it, the percentage and things like that. You need to know that, because if you're looking for something to help you, you need to know, if you want something with pain, you want something with monoterpenes, high in monoterpenes, or if you want, things like that. So let me tell you two things, and then I'll go. I keep saying that. So one more thing. Why are some essential oils so expensive, and why are some very inexpensive? Purity, availability, and quantity. So it takes like 20 tons of rose petals to make an ounce of rose essential oil. So your rose is going to be very expensive. The same with lemon balm. Even lemon balms in the mint family are pretty inexpensive, though it's very hard to distill and get the oil out of lemon balm. So that's, Melissa, it's very expensive. And then the same with lavender can be costly. That's why I like to buy for my soaps a blend of many lavenders. Citrus is pretty inexpensive in the mint family. So some of the top 10 essential oils that you should purchase, and let me just tell you that: lavender, peppermint. Hold on a second. Let me get my little list here. I have it. I think I threw it away. All right, let me just tell you this. It takes 350 pounds of lavender to make 1 pound of oil. It takes 10,000 pounds of rose petals, I said tons, but to make 1 pound of essential oil. So that's why it's so costly. All right, I didn't know if, and I did bring amber if you wanted to smell it, and I did bring the cannabis. So, any more questions? And then I'll finally end. Okay.
Any more? If not, the cool thing is her tent's right outside here. If you want to have a more intimate discussion, or if you want to ask more personal questions, she'll be here today and tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
correct?
I'll probably leave at about 4. Yes, because I have a craft event in Garnett. I have a shop on my property, and that's where I do my formulating. I have my showcase there. It's not always open. It's open by appointment, or if I'm home, it's open. and that's where I store all my stuff there. So I make my soap, make my products, have a little shop to display it, and then so that it's in Rantoul.
All right, everybody, give it up for Janet from Bohemian Prairie Alchemists. She is a sponsor of this event, and her gift is up there. You can purchase tickets right now from the gals up at the front desk. Remember, everything we do here is self-funding. We don't have ticket prices or anything like that. So the next event is going to be right after lunch, 1 o'clock here at the stage. Will be Greg talking about your power needs. Also remember that from this table over the lunch hour, soon Scott Armstrong from the I Fired Myself podcast is going to be here, basically doing small interviews with the speakers and some other people that are here. If you want to be present for that, you can. If not, it's for his podcast. It'll be live streamed. You can catch it later. But for now, please make sure you go see the gals up front. Remember, we also have swag this year. We have the patches. They're cheap. We have stickers. We have buttons. Every time you purchase a $1 button or a $1 sticker or a $5 patch, that also goes to the kitty to help us purchase the campground and all the tents and all the things that we have to do around here. So we thank you for your patronage. We'll see you back up here at 1 o'clock. Oh, lost and found. We have a pair of keys. They're up at the front.